try and take a look at these pictures. We have a picture post the strike, and we also have an image which is pre-strike. Now, this is the target area, as we are trying to show you, that India hit. The impact here, as you see after the strike, this is completely destroyed. All you see is probably smoke and dust. While here, you can see an infrastructure. Somehow, you can also see that there is some land support, some support vehicles that are also stationed over here. Small, minute, but very clear in these satellite images that have been released by a Chinese firm. Now, looking at this target area and this post-strike area, we can clearly see some assets have been destroyed. Now, also the considerable damage, as is earmarked also by that Chinese firm, you can see there is considerable damage here. Is there impact on the airstrip as well? We cannot clearly see here, but we can see some of the air-marked assets. There is a truck and a truck written here. Obviously, it is an indication to the fact that these were probably some sort of support defense vehicles which were standing over there, and when the missile hit, they were completely destroyed. Let's go back to our correspondent, Mir Farid, and try and understand how these images can be interpreted. Now, Mir, if we look at these images, they are very clearly highlighted with certain, nomenclature for the assets over there and the kind of impact that has been seen. So, can you try and explain to us what has happened post-strike, the image that we see post-strike? Can you explain it a little bit more and describe it a little bit more?
Well, post-strike, there are three things that you have to understand. One, obviously these images, because satellite images clearly show you can make the difference between how a facility stood before the attack and post the attack. The difference is quite, you can easily mark the difference. And you have assets that have been destroyed. Now, obviously, Airbase has a number of things that ensure that the coordination happens. And why? As I said, it's a nerve center, because it's not only about the plane concept of having fighter aircrafts and having their routine maintenance, etc. It's also about the refueling. Aerial refueling is something that is critical in modern day aerial warfare. So this is the hub of Pakistan's air refueling, mid-air refueling machines, the facility, and the complete the coordination center. So in that way, also this Air Force base is very critical, and the kind of damage, it is quite clear that probably some runway, part of it has been damaged, and then obviously assets, which range from vehicles to the hangars to the refueling facility. A lot of that has been hit, and as I said, there were videos also of the moment when this airbase was hit. There were sirens, and there were videos which in fact were took by bystanders who saw a ball of fire emanating from within the airbase, and then also multiple blasts. So it is critical in more than one way. It is not a plain Air Force base. It is strategic for Pakistan Air Force in many ways. And obviously, rattled by this, they had claimed that they, in fact, in the very first Operation Sindoor dogfight, they claimed that they had downed many Indian fighter jets. So obviously, post that, it seems that our strategy was to hit and impact their air force, which is one of the strong points of Pakistan's defense. And in many ways, as far as at least these three air bases are concerned, the objectives have been met by sending this message that we can hit deep inside Pakistan, also very close to the capital, Islamabad.
Absolutely. Shivani is also there with us. Shivani, we were trying to analyze this image, and now that it's a little bit more sharper on our screens, we can see that there is significant damage there to the infrastructure. But we don't really need this kind of evidence to understand what message has gone through to Pakistan when you hit an airbase 10 kilometers away from the capital city, the seat of power, Islamabad. 10 kilometers away, and a massive, huge airbase. Tell us what kind of a impact psychologically it would have had on the military and the political class as well, and also explain a little bit what we are seeing on screen.
Anjali, these air bases that have been hit by India, they are all of strategic importance, selected very intelligently by Indian Armed Forces. Many of them are the strategic locations of. They are of dual use also, where they have their missile storage facilities, the mobilization facilities for their troops. They also have their VIP movement facilities. And what we see in the pictures, Anjali, is a significant damage to the infrastructure of that airbase. Now, we need to understand that an airbase has all important infrastructure and every facility that is needed for the routine sorties for fighters. The personnel who are deployed there, all the systems out there, the radars that are there, the support vehicles. So each and everything in an airbase is extremely important for that base to be operationalized completely. So if a part is hit significantly, it's very much understandable that the airbase operations cannot be taken ahead. So this is how disarming the air bases by India has been done, and that too selected very intelligently, just in a focused manner, not touching any kind of civil population along these airbase areas, and giving out a message. And what we are also learning, Anjali, that these were the air bases primarily that were being used for strike against India, be the air defense systems out there, be the fighters, the infrastructure, the vehicular movement that was taking place to send those drones towards India, the storage facility where probably the missiles and the drones were stationed. So all these air bases and the pictures we see are showing us how the damage was inflicted on them, how India was focused in a very focused and a measured precision strike was hitting these air bases to disarm them, to make them so that they cannot operationalize against India. We were not only protecting our people,
Right.
the armed forces were not only protecting and avoiding that damage to our Indian civilization, but they were also a message that we can go there, hit your air bases hard, that you are using for attack against India.
Right,
Anjali.
and also to note is that these images have been released by a firm of a third party, third country. So a Chinese firm has released these satellite images. So it is also important to note that this is sort of indisputable evidence of impact of Indian strikes.